Hello, everybody. My name's Connor. I'm the co-founder of McTavish Spirits and the host of Who Gives a Dram. And today is going to be my last podcast. And by last podcast, I mean my last podcast in this apartment. Sorry to trick you. I hope everybody's doing good. It's been a while since I've hopped on the mic. It's just been an incredibly busy few months for me. I don't even remember the last time I recorded. As I'm sure you can tell if you're watching this on YouTube, this is not typically what my background looks like. And that's because, and you can't see it in the video here, but I am currently sitting in an empty apartment. The only thing that I have in here, quite literally, is my Rodecaster, which is so dusty. You can tell how it's been so long since I've used it. I brought my laptop. I brought my mic and this table, which I'm taking with me to my new place. Today is Sunday, May 31st, 2026. And it's the last day officially that I'm going to be in my apartment here in downtown Westerly that I've lived in since November 5th, 2019. And I'm a pretty sentimental person, so I feel connections to things. I feel connections to people. I tend to trust pretty easily and quickly. I love traditions. I love consistency. I love feeling like I'm at home, and this apartment has been the epitome of that for the better part of 7 years. So I wanted to record one last podcast before I officially move out. And it's not a bad thing that I'm moving out. I have a really fantastic new spot, an old farmhouse, really close to my mom and dad. It's got a lot of land, a big pond. It's on a farm, so horses and cows and goats and donkeys and an alpaca, ducks and so many rabbits and so many other things. So I am very, very lucky to be going from this downtown apartment where I essentially spent my 20s to my new apartment where I will be ringing in my 30s come September. But that being said, this apartment, the apartment that I'm currently sitting in, is where it all started. I moved in when I was 23 years old. I had just... I guess you can call it a breakup I'd gone through. I had dated a girl for not long at all. But it was my the first person I introduced to my parents and, the first person I actually felt strongly for. So we broke up, and it affected me, and it took me a bit to kind of like get back to normal and headspace. And I thought something that would be good for me would be to move out of my parents' house. I had the money. I had been saving like a madman. I didn't barely spent anything. So I thought, this is going to be the time that if I'm going to move out, now's the time. And I was so lucky to find this place, 2 bedrooms in the downtown area. And at the time when I moved in, I was paying $900 a month in rent for 2 bedrooms, probably roughly 900 square feet total, in-unit washer and dryer, right in downtown as a single 23-year-old. It was a good time, and I'll keep it at that. And when I moved in, roughly a year later is when I started Who Gives a Dram. And Who Gives a Dram has changed my life. It's given me the opportunity to travel. It's given me the opportunity to meet wonderful people and some not so wonderful people. It's forced me to learn about myself. It's forced me to learn about life. It's given me opportunities that I never thought I'd had. It's given me my first business. It's given me some of the closest relationships I've ever made. And the reason I even started the podcast was because I was living by myself. I've said this many times on the show. I was living by myself thinking, I'm already talking to myself all the time. Why would I not just record it and make it about whiskey because I love whiskey? So I did. And I took the jump. I was very nervous. And I was very hesitant to put myself out there. But at the end of the day, I thought, you know what? Fuck it. Let's just do it. What's the worst that can happen? I make a fool of myself? I've already done that plenty of times. Let's just do it. So I did it. And I believe it was October, I don't remember the exact date, October something, 2020 is when I released my first episode. You know what's funny? As I've been moving all of my stuff, a lot of which is whiskey, I've saved some certain bottles. Like I have my first bottle of the War Chief, McTavish Spirits. I have a couple of other bottles that just are associated with direct memories. And one of the bottles that I kept, that I signed and I dated and I wrote the purpose of the bottle, was the first review that we did on this podcast. The Midwinter Night's Dram. It was Act 8. We did that in October of 2020. I still remember buying it at Grand Wine and Spirits in Waterford, Connecticut, when I worked there for $99.99 retail. And I found that as I was moving and brought back memories and brought back a certain type of innocence that I had at that time. And as you can tell, I literally just set up my own ring. I've been moving stuff all day, and I actually had a tasting last night with a really, not only a great supporter of McTavish Spirits, and not only a great supporter of me, but a friend of mine, Jessica, and her husband invited me up to their house up in Massachusetts, and I ran a private tasting for them. And during my private tastings, I like to go into detail about the different types of whiskeys, and we try them as we talk about them. But as I was talking about myself to the people that didn't know me there, I had mentioned that, I kind of started all my whiskey journey through podcasting, and at that time I remembered, and actually tomorrow I'm moving out of that apartment that I started in. So that was kind of a surreal moment in real time, thinking that. And now we're getting to 4:00 p.m. This afternoon, a full day of, I drove back from Massachusetts this morning in a really good mood, got all the last of the big stuff out of my apartment here. I've been moving. I've probably done 3 different trips back and forth, and thankfully my new apartment is only about 10 minutes away from here. So I'm very close. So it's not like I'm traveling long distances in between, but my mom kept on wanting me to bring this living room table over to my new place so she could figure out how we would set it up. Because I don't have a huge dining room. I'm putting my office in my dining room, I guess, because another thing that's happened since the last time we spoke is I now work a 9 to 5. So not only am I moving apartments, but I'm now back to my tech sales job, the same job I had when I was doing my podcasting for several years. And I'm very, very happy that I'm there. We can get into more detail about that and just the realistic ventures of entrepreneurs, I guess, where it's not just all sunshine and rainbows and you're going to go find that angel investor or the bank's going to give you a $1 million loan or whatever. No, sometimes you got to grind through, and sometimes that means taking care of yourself and paying your bills so that way your business stays afloat. That's what I'm doing. But we can get more into that in a later episode. But my mom wanted to bring this dining room table over to my new place, and I kept on saying, nope, this is going to be the last thing we move because I am doing one more podcast in the apartment because this is where it all started. And I don't really have a script for today's episode, and I don't think it's going to be much longer than it is right now at 10 minutes. I just simply wanted to say thank you to this space because we started right over there in what was my podcast room / my office, which then turned into Kale's room, which is now empty. But we started in there. And I eventually got it to a place where I had my beautiful whiskey cabinet, which I have since cut in half because I'm not keeping it anymore. And it's kind of just like plywood and percolated wood, and it's actually not nice. The front looks nice, but we sawzalled it in half to get it down the stairs because I live on the second floor currently. So we that is no longer. But if you look into older episodes of Who Gives a Dram, you'll see that brown whiskey cabinet. It'll always live on because of Who Gives a Dram, but it is now sitting in the backyard of my new place because I haven't been able to go to the dump yet. Anyways, I digress. I had that room set up perfectly for what I wanted. I set it up perfectly for the video podcast, which I taught myself how to do, and I still do it the same way I did it back in 2020 and 2021 with my iPhone. The same laptop. The Rodecaster's new, but I haven't taught myself really how to use it to its fullest potential in the couple of years that I've had it. And then we moved into this corner for the past year when Kale moved in to that room. We've done, I don't know, how many episodes have we done in this corner? Not many. We started in this corner, and then we migrated to my office / podcast room, and then we're ending in this corner. So it's kind of poetic that this is where it started and this is where it's ending. I used to put a big mirror on the back of my O-ring so I could see the recording on my phone to make sure nothing was pausing or nobody called me and the video stopped or something. So, man, all these memories are becoming flooded back, are flooding back into my memory right now. The podcast started here, and in turn, McTavish Spirits started here. The first thoughts of it, the first processes of it, signing the contracts in here, having some very important phone calls in here, having lots of sleepless nights in here, having some fantastic nights in here, having friends and family over, experiencing new things, learning to live on my own, learning to fix stuff on my own, learning to deal with shit on my own. I caught a mouse in here once. That was interesting. And you know, I don't want to ramble too much because I'm not going to drink whiskey today. I don't have anything with me. I just wanted to simply record this, even if it's just for myself, so I can look back at Who Gives a Dram and see the entire process of my Westerly, Rhode Island apartment. From beginning to end. Yeah, it's you know, I was sitting right over here when my Uncle Craig passed away. Me and my brother went out on the roof, which is, if you can see the window, it's literally right there. Had a glass of whiskey, looked at the moon and then the stars, and cried, and talked about my Uncle Craig. Was here when my cousin John passed away a couple months later. I was sitting on my couch right over there when I got the news, which is now just carpet. Yeah, a lot has happened here, and I wanted to give it a proper goodbye. And it's still really nice in here too. I mean, I believe the new landlord is going to tear up the carpet. so I didn't vacuum or anything, and it's a little dusty. But outside of that, like this is a really nice spot. This is a really nice spot. This was exactly what I needed for 7 years. This is exactly what I needed. And this apartment allowed me to grow as a man, as a businessman, as a friend, as a son, as a brother, as a cousin. This apartment saw a lot of shit. It saw a lot. Um, and I am sad. Don't get me wrong. I am sad. I haven't slept here for a couple weeks now, so I've been sleeping in my new place. But after today, I won't have the option to come back here anymore. So I'm gonna take it in for a minute, I think, and allow myself to be flooded with memories for a couple minutes before I head out. But I've had my last glass of whiskey in here already. I kind of wish I brought a little bit to toast, but I believe the last glass of whiskey I had here was watching The Boys season finale. My couch was still here, and my TV was on the floor, and I watched The Boys, and the next night I moved my mattress. So The Boys ended, and then I kind of stopped sleeping here. Nothing special about The Boys. It's not like it's my favorite show or anything. It's up there. I love The Boys. I didn't hate the ending, but I thought it could have been done much better. But seeing Homelander die and having him beg for mercy at the end and losing his powers was pretty much the only way you could end it outside of him winning, which I kind of thought maybe they would do. That being said, yeah, I don't want to ramble on too much. I think I'm going to end it. Thanks for tuning in. I apologize for not getting an episode out sooner. Once I figure out how I'm going to record video in my new place, I'm going to start doing it. It might look a little different. It might be a little different, but who gives a dram? As I've said, since October 2020 is not changing. I might take breaks in between, but listen, just last month, I think my total downloads 30 days on Buzzsprout were in the 500 or 600s, and I haven't released episodes in years and months. So you guys, people are still listening, and I really appreciate it. I think the more I grow McTavish, the more people realize that I do this, and I really like to use it as a lever to promote my brand, but also promote myself. I've branched out into doing private whiskey tastings. I've done 3 this month. I have 2 definitely booked next month with the potential for a 3rd. If you're listening to this and you know me personally and would like to have that experience for yourself, for you and your friends or your family, please reach out to me. But as I say all the time, visit McTavish Spirits. Go buy a bottle of the War Chief online. It's good stuff. I'll be back. I have like 4 or 5 bottles that were sent to me that I haven't opened that I'm supposed to review, so I want to get to that. But I'm going to need a little bit to figure out how I'm going to record in my new spot. So whether that will be next week or whether that will be next month, I don't know. Follow me on Instagram, Connor_whiskey, to keep up to date with what I'm doing. And for the last time in this apartment, where all these memories were made, I am going to say goodbye. I'm going to miss this very much. But always remember, whiskey's the water of life, so let's start living.